Now we're going to move to the next module on the result-based leadership. We're talking about to be effective leader is to be able to achieve your organizational results. And today, if you look at organizations today, there are too many bosses and very too few leaders. What do I mean by that? So if you look at your organization, what does a boss do and what does a leader do? In many instances when we ask this question to our participant in various leadership masterclass, the common answer is that boss direct, tell you what to do, a leader inspire you, a leader be able to influence you, to be able to build rapport and to be able to help you to achieve your personal and organizational goals. So there are many definitions of what a boss or leader. So the question I would like to ask you, are you a boss or leader today? And to answer that question, you need to ask and examine two aspects of self-leadership, what we call the leadership purpose and values. And this is very important because today, if you look at many leaders, the question you've been asked is, what is your leadership purpose? Why do you exist? And when I talk about leadership purpose, I'm referring to why do you exist as a leader? What does it make people want to follow you? Why do people want to follow you? And this is a question we need to ask ourselves. If you look at, there's a book called Too Many Bosses, Too Few Leaders by Rajiv Peshwaria, who's the CEO of 𝐒𝐄 in Malaysia. And in the book, Too Many Bosses, Too Few Leaders, this team that we're talking about, Rajiv talked about the organization today where many leaders are not able to clearly articulate what are their leadership purpose. And interestingly, when in the book you talk about the various leaders, an example, what is the most common, he asked this question, and I attended one of the Rajiv program a few years back, very interesting, he talked about what is the common thing between Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, Kenneth Lay, Whitney Houston, Bernie Madoff, Adolf Hitler and Mahatma Gandhi. So think for a minute, what are the commonality among all these so-called personalities, celebrity and leaders? And if you look at many, whenever I ask this question, the common answer that I will hear is, and probably you have identified as well, these are individuals who have been very successful in their own field, their wealth, their position of power, fame and fortune, and of authority. But is that what we talk about what leadership is? Because if you look at all these people, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, Kenneth Lay from Enron, Whitney Houston, Bernie Madoff from the Ponzi scheme in the global financial crisis, Adolf Hitler, Indira Gandhi, all these individuals, they were either murdered, they were jailed for life, or they have killed themselves. So are they really the leaders that you want to emulate? So what are successful leaders? To most people, when I ask about leadership, they are individuals who identify with wealth, position, power, fame, fortune, celebrity status, and that's what they define leadership or happiness, or success as a leader. So the question is that what you believe what leader does? Is that what your purpose is to be able to demonstrate happiness or to achieve happiness, success through those areas of wealth, position, power and fame? Now, because it's very important, we all know about leadership, because leadership is about ability to demonstrate your leadership values and purpose. I say very important. To be happy, to be a successful leader, you need to know your leadership values, and you need to clearly articulate and clarify your values. And I'll talk a little bit about that, those questions you need to ask yourself. And to be successful, you need to know your purpose. Why do you exist? Why should people follow you? So the leadership purpose and values together allow you to be able to demonstrate what we call authentic leadership. A true and authentic leadership is very important. So how do you help your team? How do you lead your team successfully is to demonstrate this, what we call authentic leadership. So some of the questions that I would advise you to reflect as we go through this leadership masterclass and this particular module about results-based leadership, and you need to ask yourself this few questions. Number one, and this is all about leadership purpose. Number one, you need to ask yourself, what are the few things that are important to me? What are the few things that are important to me? So you need to ask yourself that first and foremost, that question. I think number two, you need to ask yourself, do I want to lead a simple life, rich with everyday small pleasures? Or do you wish to achieve great success in an individual endeavor? Or do you want to lead others in your organization towards a better future in your organization? Now, there's no right or wrong answer. It's all about you, your leadership purpose. What do you want to accomplish? Only you can answer that question. So ask yourself, what do you want? You want a simple life with small everyday pleasure? Or do you want to achieve great success in an individual endeavor? That means it's for you, working for yourself, helping yourself to be successful. Or do you want to lead others, make a difference in the life of others, to help them to create a better future for themselves in the organization? This is a question only you can answer. And the third question for leadership purpose, you need to ask yourself, what results do I want to create in my organization? What results do I want to create in my organization? What does it mean? How do you create this impact in the organization, making a difference? What results? Is it about achieving the bottom line, which is important? That's a lagging indicator. You need to achieve the bottom line. That's what a leader's goal is. Always focus on the result. But the question is, how do you get there? That's important because results are a lagging indicator. What is important is to understand the drivers of result, which is about people engagement, employee engagement, customer engagement. So what do I want to do with respect to employee engagement, my team engagement, and customer engagement? So these are the questions that I would advise you to think and reflect carefully as you re-examine your leadership purpose. Now, the next set of questions is about leadership values. So what do I mean by leadership values? So values here refers to how do you want people to experience you? Your beliefs, your practices within your organization. And some people, the value of meritocracy, integrity is very important. So how do you want people to experience you, perceive you? And that's very important. So and you need to understand a very important aspect of this process is to develop a very high level of self-awareness. What are the situations that cause me to feel so strong emotions? What triggers you? Some individuals, some leaders that I know feel very strongly about complacency, about quality of the work. What happened if you deal with a multi-generational workforce, you deal with the Gen Y, the millennial, or the coming up, the next generation, Gen Z, their belief systems are different. Are you able to adapt and to ensure you're able to engage them effectively? So you need to know how to exercise restraint, self-control, especially in issues that you feel so strongly about and people do not share your same beliefs. And what happened? How do you respond to that? Third and last is about what values or beliefs that you have in your organization that will guide your behavior and action as a leader in the organization. So in other words, you need to ask yourself, what is it that is important to me? What values? And look at your organizational values. Are there alignment between your own values and that of organization? And how do you then leverage on your strength, your values, to able to steer your team, yourself and your team, self-leadership, and your team of co-leaders, your direct report, whom I call the co-leaders, to be able to move towards achieving your organizational goal. Now, that is important because if you do not define your leadership purpose and values accurately, if you do not have a very high level of self-awareness and self-restraint, self-management, it will be a very challenging situation for you to be able to lead and engage your team. So my advice to you is to take some time to reflect on those questions that I have asked you and think through and really ask yourself, what does it matter to me? What is important to me? And then work on developing improving your areas that you want to work on to help you to be a better leader, to be a great leader. Thank you.